You're listening to the Sports Cycle on 105.1 Live. I'm your host, and today we have a very special guest, Justin Trey Harrell. This brother is a superstar in the making. He's had several fights. He's had fights in high school, college. He's fought. What's your record right now? It's 5-6. But
Yeah,
you
I'm
also go ahead.
I'm 5-6 as an amateur.
Yes, sir. Five
Uh,
and six in amateur, but he also was a three-time national qualifier. He was a ECU's first conference champion since the '80s. How does that make you feel, man? Like knowing that you fought, the amount of fights you fought and you fought under several different promotions. What is it like going for your dream, something you dreamed about when you were a kid?
it's it's just very. I'm grateful because just starting out, I always just never thought of anything. I was a football player, offensive lineman, and then like my freshman year in high school, I was 34 pounds wrestling, and I just fell in love with the sport. And like we talked at the fight, fell in even more love. My best friend passed on the mat in 2012,
Wow.
and then ever since then, just been grinding to be great in wrestling, and then fell in love with like coaching. Yeah, I'm also like a high school coach, and just started fighting. One of my teammates got hurt in the gym I was training at, and he broke his hand, and we were about the same weight. And my coach, at that time, I was helping coaching at the gym, wasn't even training fighting. He asked me to start. He asked me if I wanted to take the fight, short notice. I ended up taking a fight on my amateur debut in 2017 in June, and just been started fighting ever since. But switched gyms since then. But that's when my career definitely turned around when I switched gyms.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you originally were in football. So was football the first sport that you loved?
No, actually, karate.
Okay.
I actually started karate when I was younger and got all the way up to my third belt. And then my friends in elementary school all played football, and they were like flag football, and they're like, "Hey man, you really would be a good help to our team. You should come out and try out." And I came out, and I mean I was a big boy, so I could only do offensive lineman. So I ended up being a center, and I was center all the way throughout my sophomore year in high school. Um, and then that's how it happened. I basically dropped karate for football because I started playing with all my friends.
Got you, got you.
Yeah.
So as a fighter, how do you use karate? Because you're a wrestler. You wrestler in high school and college. But as a fighter, how do you combine karate and wrestling in your fight style?
Now I combined it really well. Shout outs to my coach Carlos out of Elite Athletics. I met him in February 2019, and he changed my striking for sure. Because earlier in my career, I didn't kick nothing. I basically only didn't even strike. I went out there and just grappled. That's where some of my early losses came from, just being a grappler with no striking, not keeping my hands up, just going out there, just having the wrestling mindset of just go, go, go. And then I just changed it, and it's kind of weird because it's like the kicks came back to me from younger. It took some time development, maybe like uh, 6 months or so that I could start. I mean, I could start telling the way my kicks were snapping, but I could just tell that I could feel like it happened since it was so long ago. But my body kind of can tell it's been doing that before, and I always felt like I used to tell myself, I think this is like the way I stand is because I took karate younger, and then I just try to blend in my striking with my wrestling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So the first time I actually met you, it was at Ultimate Battleground 4, and it probably was about 2 weeks ago, I believe. And you were fighting on Brendan Hyde, who I actually interviewed on Let's Talk Sports with Tim McCain. But when I saw the fight, man, the first thing I noticed was this wasn't just a regular amateur fight. These were two professionals just going at it. And you actually, your fist, when they connected, man, he fell down 3 times. I thought you were going to smoke him and finish in the first round. Take us back to that fight. Ultimate Battleground 4. What was your feelings before the fight, during the fight, and then what you learned throughout, the whole process of it?
Um, but I would like to start off with saying definitely learned a lot after the fight, but before the fight, I was I was nervous probably up until getting ready to go out. But it's always nerves. But it kind of got in my head a little bit, thinking that his ground was better than mine, and I think it kind of played away from what my game plan was.
Mm.
And because I just knew that he was training where he was training at, and I seen that he trained. I had no film on him, but I just seen that he was a blue belt in 2014, and I never started jiu-jitsu until 2017.
Mm.
But I do have the greatest professor in North Carolina, Daniel Booth. Shout out to him, out of Aries BJJ in Sanford. Um, I just kind of doubted I guess I should have went more on my wrestling, but like going to the fight, I got eager because I've been working on my striking so much, and I did so well in my fight in Philly before I tore my meniscus, standing up on the ground, that when I actually landed against Hyde and he dropped, I got eager for the knockout. And instead of usually what I do, set up with punches and go for the takedown and then work my submission, which I try to capitalize in the third, but I was just so burned out for trying to go for the knockout,
Yeah.
that I gassed it myself out. And I remember getting clipped in the second,
Mm. Yeah.
and I think that and the nut shot took a little bit out of me. But definitely no excuses. It was still at the end of the fight, I thought I won just because how I felt like the knockdowns. I felt like the first round should have been 10-8, not 10-9.
Yeah, I agree. The first round.
I dominated the first round all the way. I felt like the way even though I was doing a lot against the cage, but in holding him in the second, but him hitting me against the cage and landing shots, while I'm holding him, I felt like that kind of won in the round. So I knew going in the third that I had to go for it. So that's why I went and took him down and mounted a guillotine. And I thought right before I switched my grip to a 10-finger guillotine to a 5-finger guillotine, I seen his hand come up. And I thought he was getting ready to tap. So I went to switch my grip to make it tighter. And then he started popping his head out, so I can only go back to a 5-finger guillotine. And I try to squeeze as much as I can and burnt my arms out. So I knew when I got up off the cage, when he got up, that he was going to pressure me. So I was just trying to bait him in with my hands down, and I was gassed too, though. But that's one thing I still can't figure out the fight, because even my coach would tell you that I have some of the best cardio in our gym. I go real hard all the time, and that's one thing I can't figure out is why I got so gassed early. Because I never get gassed at practice. And I don't even just train for 3 minutes. I train 5-minute rounds when I get ready for a fight, like a pro. And I just couldn't figure out why I got so gassed. But I think in the judges' eyes, they seen it as I was backing up and he was coming in. But even though everything he threw, I was countering with my left hand. I was still landing my left hand in the third.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then if I felt any trouble, I kept pushing him against the cage and going for a takedown but not finishing. So I think in their eyes, it was more of me having my hands down and backing up while he was pressuring, and what end up giving him the edge in the third. That's the only way I can see it. Because I hate using the factor what some of the crowd were saying, he was from there, and that's another life lesson I learned. I'm never gonna leave the fight in a hometown. If I'm fighting a guy from his hometown, I'm definitely going for the finish, or I'm gonna make sure I'm beating you 10-8 every round. It's not gonna be close, where you even have the chance to judges to say that you won the fight.
I definitely noticed that he definitely had a crowd advantage. That was one thing, and then two, it definitely would have been a tough for me to judge too, because for one, I thought you won round one hands down. Round two, that was a nutcracker for me. Both of y'all ended y'all's career in the round two. I was like, oh my gosh, both of y'all were kneed, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, both of y'all were kneed, and I was just like, man, I don't know, they're gonna start throwing haymakers because of all these fouls or whatever. But in the third round, like you said, you took him down, and then you countered him, and he went back and forth with you. It definitely would have been tough for anybody to judge. If I would have, I could not be a judge in that fight, to be honest with you, man, because it could have been either or. Even though I do think you could have won that fight, I think both of y'all are great fighters, but I think you could have probably won that fight, from my perspective.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I honestly feel like Because actually, the knees, I mean, both the nutcrackers happened in the first. That's what's crazy about the fight. The first round was so long because we both got hit in the first.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of took a lot out of both of us. And just because I've been hit before, but that one really took because it came from him falling. It didn't even like he went to kick. Well, I hit him with my left, and he was falling. And as he was falling, his leg was coming up.
Right.
And it lifted. And then, I mean, that's where it goes from there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, I'll just take this from just watching both you guys in that fight. Both you guys are warriors. I just want to say that. And no one can go out and say that you guys did not put your body, your mind on the line because you guys went out and you guys did that thing. So congratulations to both you guys. But my next question to you is, what are some of the lessons you learned from the wins and the losses?
I learned most of my lessons probably from my losses of just learning to get better and how to mix my martial arts, how to mix striking and wrestling from the losses. And from the wins is not get too big headed. There was one point where I was on a 3-fight win streak. I went 3-0 in 2019 when I met my coach Carlos and kept practicing with my professor Daniel all the time. And I won't even say I never got big headed. It was just also like I just had more confidence, and I felt like having this loss is teaching me more because I don't honestly. My fight in February when I tore my meniscus for the I was fighting Art War. I was fighting for the championship. I tore my meniscus in the first round against Jardy Garbarino, and I ended up coming back. I ended up winning the first. I won the second, and then in the third. We were still going, and they called a fight against the cage while I was still standing, and he was hitting clean shots. It was kind of an early stoppage. I felt like it's not the best. It's on YouTube if you might ever want to check it out. It's just because I don't want to be that guy that says like it was early stoppage, but I really don't think that it should have been called. It was only a minute and 30 left, and I mean there were some things. I just slipped a punch, and then he hit me twice, and the ref jumped in.
After two punches?
Yeah, it was like, I mean, he was just throwing combinations after, and I slipped one, and he kept going. It was also another, again, I hate to say it like this, but another hometown guy. I went to Philly to fight a Philly guy. Like, you can tell, too, like, the whole crowd was, like, for him. He was like, almost like Rocky in Philly. At weigh-ins, he had the Rocky hat, the Rocky jacket. Like, everybody was around him. Even the judge, because I asked the commission after, I was just curious, like, well, how many rounds was up before like they got called? They were like, I was up 2-0. All I had to do was finish a minute and 30, tore meniscus, and I would have walked out with the title.
Wow.
But what's funny about the whole situation is the promoter came up to me and he said, "Boy, you were a minute and 30 away for upsetting 1,500 fans." He said, "You would have had so many North Phillies on you, it would have been hard to get you out of here."
Wow.
And I was just, but it was a good fight. Just another guy. I wanted these last few fights to test myself before I go pro because I heard he was a good striker. I wanted to test my striking. I felt like Brandon Brown. I heard it was, just by just assuming, thinking it was like real good. But I felt like that's why I explored I beat myself by not using my wrestling. I could have went out there, took him down. I felt like he finished Brandon in first.
Yes, sir.
After now watching the fight, because nothing against him, but I don't think his ground is on my level when it comes to wrestling and mixing jiu-jitsu. His jiu-jitsu defense might be, but when it came to taking like wrestling takedown defense, if I would have had the cardio, if I would have took the shots I took in the third with the cardio I had in the first, I would just take him down all day long.
Understood.
But that's because I'm not trying to hype myself, but I'm a high level wrestler. Like I train with high level guys as well when it comes to wrestling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So was there ever a time period, and you've been fighting since you were little, was there ever a time period where you're like, man, I'm just tired of this. I don't want to fight anymore. I want to do something else. Did you ever have those moments?
No, sir. Honestly, like I said, like MMA wise, striking, it started. Like I said, starting in high school, I just loved wrestling. Still to this day, I coach out of high school. I had my first state champion. That's probably what I love. I probably did it the rest of my life, coach. I love coaching. giving back to the boys and giving them the opportunity of learning from someone that's a high level that I wish I would have had when I was younger at their age, and understand like not like my coach pushed me, but like I know what it takes as well now, like to get to the college, to get through high school. Just because I wasn't a state champion, I was on a state qualifier, but like I know state champions. Some of my friends was a 3-timer, and then I got plenty of friends that are state qualifiers that were predicted to win it. That are end up placing like third, and I'm just around myself that I just know what it takes and the mindset of like becoming good in wrestling in high school. That I just want to give back, and then I'm a chemist. I work in a lab. I got my biology degree. I think that's one thing a lot of people don't know about me is I'm just not fighting. I actually got a full-time job, and I mean that's what I do. I was on track to go to med school. That was my dream.
Wow.
And then I had my little boy. Then I had to start working.
Yes, sir.
And so had a curveball, but then I ended up falling in love with fighting. My body only lasts me so long. I can always go back to school. That's
Yes,
how I
sir.
see it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's amazing, man. So, my next question to you is, man. So you just had your fight, and the reason why I'm going to ask you this question is because for me, I work every day, man. You know, I'm also a reporter, but I also have a day job just like you. How long does it take for you to like rest your body after a fight? I mean, like you can't just jump in the octagon soon after your next fight, in my opinion. Like, what's the proper way for you to like heal your body up and get ready for the next fight?
These past these past 2 years since I've been with my coach Carlos, I realized how to rest better. I used to like fight, get ready to find another fight, boom, try to find another fight, boom. I think one of my fastest turnaround times was like a month and a half or something. Like just when I was younger, I used to just in like 2017 just try to find a fight, get on another fight. But now, I try to find fights in 3 months or 2 months. Little wave. It depended on. Also, I was kind of depending on the opponent, how injured I got my last fight, or if I didn't get hurt at all. But this last fight, I didn't want to, but I took a week off. I needed it. My hand was swollen, so I took a week off and from training. But I probably ran a couple of days that week, and then I've been still not throwing no punches, but I've been back kicking and running and lifting again this week. So, but I'm probably looking around December, January to get back in the octagon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And what's the process like for you, being somebody who's, you're a wrestler, you do karate, mixed martial arts, jujitsu. What's the process like for training while you're just not training not for a fight, but also during a fight or a fight coming up? What's that process like for training?
Well, I feel like I never come out of like training camp.
Okay.
We train like we're always in camp. The only thing that maybe be different is we up the sparring. But when it comes to technique and how hard we go at practice, it's always just it's always intense. Maybe the first few couple weeks after the fight, we talk about what we could have did right, did wrong, and we might go over some of the basics. But we're always staying in camp. I train 5-6 days a week most of the time.
Yes,
some
sir.
type of training and lifting every day, in some way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Take us back to your ECU days. You were a three-time national qualifier. You also won a conference championship. What,
Great.
what kind of love did you receive from ECU? What was your experience like over there?
It was a great experience. I wrestled for the ECU's club team. I treated it like it was a Division 1, Division 2 team. I think that's why I had so much success on the team. Heartbreaking moment my junior year. Lost by 1 point, become an All-American. And then, that was rough. But that week before winning the conference championship, I wouldn't trade that feeling for nothing. It was amazing because it was just something I actually walked through the tournament. I pinned my way through the tournament. And in the finals, there was other coaches coming to me telling me, like, hey, this kid's tough. Like, they're basically didn't think I was going to win it. And my coach just kept telling me, like, okay, like, I mean, he's ready. I mean, I was like, I told my coach, like, I'm ready. The boy, he's from JMU. He wrestled in Jersey. And, you know, I'm just a North Carolina boy going against a Jersey boy. So, I mean, when you hear that, it's supposed to be like, oh, I'm about to get dominated. Because he wrestled in high school in Jersey, did well in Jersey. And I was just a North Carolina boy, state qualified. But I put the work in when I hit the college. When I got to college, I hit a whole different peak. That's when I hit my peak for wrestling, was my freshman year in college. And, I mean, that was my coaches, and I had a good training partner named Greg Humphrey. He just pushed me every day. And I just got a lot of love from the club team. I still involved alumni. I get money back. I was definitely, when I was there at ECU, the rec center, I mean, they treated me like almost like I could just do almost anything. Everybody just knew me in the rec center from that work there, just because of how much success like I had in wrestling
Yes,
at
sir.
ECU.
Yes, sir. That's amazing. So, who are some of the top UFC mixed martial arts guys that you followed when you were a little kid, when you were younger growing up? And who are some of the fighters that you currently watch and you're like, yo, he's a bad mother, you know what? So, like, tell me, who are some of the fighters that you grew up idolizing?
When I was younger, this is gonna be funny. I was big in WWE, so I was huge with Brock. I was big with Brock Lesnar.
Okay,
Like
okay.
it was just dope for me to see like a WWE superstar to go to the UFC with the UFC championship.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, and he was a wrestler, so I was just like, that was pretty cool. But also, I used to like Frank Mir for his ground game when I was
Okay.
younger.
Interesting.
Yeah, so, but now and Johnny Bone Jones was huge
Yep.
back then as well, kinda, because he was on the rise.
Mm-hmm. I
But
remember that.
now I just really like, one of my favorite knockouts is Connor knocking out Eddie, and I like that because
Yeah.
he's a southpaw, so I like kind of watch his footwork, and he does. I like that 2-3-2 that he threw on him. Um, but and I try to learn some things from like Khabib on the ground, the way he sets his legs up, when he traps your legs and makes the triangle onto the legs. But I'm trying to watch more of I like old Woodley, if that makes sense.
Okay.
This Woodley that has the past 3 fights, he's not fighting like he used to. I like how he used to be explosive, and out of nowhere he'll come. Like,
Right.
and then boom, there he goes again. So, I definitely like the creative of Adesanya, like, and he can
Yes.
fight. Like,
Yes.
I like watching him. If he's on, or I might sometimes pull up YouTube on the phone and pull him up. But definitely, I'll say, because I know it's kind of crazy because they like beef against each other. But I definitely like watching different styles between Connor's strike and Khabib's ground.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You think that John Bones Jones Izzy fight's gonna happen, man?
I would like to see it, but I don't know if it's going to happen. I think John really wants to go to heavyweight.
Yeah, I agree. I
And,
agree.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, I would just say this about Tyron Woodley. You're right. Tyron Woodley, heck of a champion, but I think age has something to do with it. So my question to you is this: When do you think that you would, when do you think is the right age to stop wrestling or having a professional career, or do you think you can go, beyond 37, 38, even 40?
I think age has something to do with it, but I think it also is all about how you take care of your body. GSP is a great example of that. Like, I think that he is still can go out there and do great against anybody. But it's all about, I feel like, how you take care of your body. But like 38, 40, I would have to say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I always ask this, and you're a wrestling guy. You're a mixed martial arts, so I already know your answer. But if a little kid wanted to choose between mixed martial arts or boxing, why would you recommend the kid to do wrestling or mixed martial arts over boxing?
I would suggest wrestling because it can also go to little kids, for girls and boys, for self defense. Because it's not like, someone can grab you and then you know what to do. But not even nothing against boxing or striking. I just feel like grappling is just the number one martial arts there is. If you learn how to wrestle or even jiu-jitsu, it's just the way to go. But mainly, I know I'm biased because I'm a wrestler, but definitely wrestling because I just feel like once you learn that, it's become second nature, and it don't matter if someone can is a boxer, you'll be able to defend yourself. I was in high school, and this boxer tried to fight me over a girl,
Oh wow.
and I didn't even know how to strike, and he started hitting me, and I just took him down, and then we got on the ground. It was like it
It
was
was
in
over.
football practice, and
Yeah.
it was just over that. That was just That's just there. That's just an example of that. But just wrestling in general is just something I think that my boy 4 right now. I'm already been getting him to wrestle since he's about 2. Like nothing crazy, not with a club or anything. But anytime I get him on my weekends, we're always doing some type of like drilling or playing, trying to make it fun. Not like, oh, you're gonna wrestle, but make it fun. So like when he sees me, he like loves me. He's like, hey, daddy, and then he's like, take down, and he tries to take me down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So you have a son, and my question to you is, how did having a son change you as a man, and also how did it change you in how you prepare for a fight? Because now you have somebody who's watching you. And he doesn't want his dad to get hurt. How do you handle that?
Oh, it changed me as a man just because I had to grow up I had to grow up early at 21 and just start understanding what I got to do as a man, take care of my son, and make sure he never has to lack for anything. And it just changed my mindset of like what I need to do and how to do it, how to grind. Just that's just man. Just labor, just working labor, just what I got to do to get better. What I need to do to use my major to get a good job, so he can do what he's got to do, take care of him. And then fighting wise, he hasn't seen any in person because my mom's not ready to. She don't want him to see it live,
Okay.
but he watches them if they're live, like on the network. Spartak has the Fight TV, so he watched me live on some of those fights. We watch them together. Sometimes we play them, but nothing live really. I want him to go, but my mom's not ready. She says she feels like he's real still too young to go watch it. So,
What does your son say to you once he sees you fight? You guys are watching it. You guys are together. You watching the fight. What are some of the things he tells you? Does he like critique you or anything?
oh no, because he's only 4,
He's only
but like
4.
all he says is Justin T. Harrell.
Yes, sir.
And then he said that his fight name is G Ray. His name's Gage, but he said my name's G Ray Harrell.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, Justin, man, what are your personal keys to success? If somebody asks you, what do you need to be successful? What are your personal keys of success?
It's mental mindset. Like, what you put your mind to, you can do it. Have good team and support behind you. Have someone that is willing to help you as much as you can so you can chase your dreams. Like I would, this might be besides the point, but I'll give a big shout out to my girlfriend. She's been with me since basically I started my career. We were just talking back then, but she sacrifices a lot for me to go practice all night or train all day and then come back and be tired and just go to sleep instead of hanging out with her. But she sacrifices that. But she understands, and then also my sister's a big help and my parents as well when it comes to my son. When I get them on my weekends, I might have a fight that weekend, but they're always there to help me chase my dream and help me with him as much as possible. And it is the way my grandparents raised me is just always like don't be independent and just just chase after your dreams, and then I used to. There's a saying. I think it was. I think it's Eric Thomas.
I
As
love Eric Thomas.
Yeah, as much as I think it's as much as you want to breathe. I mean, as bad.
Yes, he
Actually,
said, as
guys,
bad as
all
you want to
phones right
breathe.
here.
I think it was. I think it was. You want to do it as bad as you want to breathe. Be as successful as bad as you want to breathe. Something like that.
Yeah,
Yes,
if
sir.
you want to be, if you want to, yeah, if you want to succeed as bad as you will breathe, if you want to breathe, you'll be successful.
Yes,
And
sir.
I've been keeping that motto since 2012, since my boy passed away,
Wow.
and um, then I just came up with my own motto with mindset, which is mental. I tell my wrestlers at practice, they get tired. They don't want to do nothing. They complaining like, Coach Trey, Coach Trey, Coach Trey.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm done. I'm done. Like, no, you're not. It's mental.
Wow.
Like, let's go. It's all mental. And then, I mean, it is. It's like at practice when I get tired and I just feel like I want to just quit and don't want to go no more. I dig deep inside and just tell myself it's mental.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much, Justin, for your time. I cannot wait to see your next fight. I'm telling you, everybody listening, you guys need to check out Justin T. Ray Harrell. This brother, he is ready. He's the next one. And get your popcorn ready because he might end somebody. He's frustrated. He could have knocked him out in the first round. I'm telling you, Justin, you could have knocked him out in the first round with the way you were delivering some of those punches, man. But for y'all, the next fight, I'm telling you, he's gonna do something. Where can they follow you on social media, Instagram, Facebook, all that?
Yeah, Facebook is just Justin Trey Harrell. And then Instagram and Twitter is Trey underscore Harrell 184.
Yeah.
And then again, like you just said, I mean, for me, I am hungry. I'm ready to get back at it. Trying to figure out what's best. If I want to make this cut to 55, if I want to stay at 70. So just trying to get a body fat test and get my nutritionist to see what's the next thing, how to go with it.
Yes, sir. Good luck to you, my man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. You're listening to 1051 Live. You're listening to the Sports Cycle on 1051 Live. So before I get into the LeBron James and the LA Lakers and the GOAT conversation, I want to make a statement about fighters in North Carolina. You know, traditionally the fight states have been, Pennsylvania, they've been Nevada, California, and others. But I just want to let everyone know listening, North Carolina is coming. Okay? You got great fighters. I just hung up with one, Justin Trey Harrell. You got Adrian Soto Perez, Elias Briley, Local Briley. He's coming for anybody. He tells me that all the time. He don't care who he fights. He's coming for their neck. Okay, I'm telling you, man. And Theo Relaine was the first fighter that was on here on the Sports Cycle. He was the very first fighter I ever interviewed. I'm telling you, every last one of these fighters, they're coming for people's threat. They're coming for their respect. And that's not just wrestling, mixed martial arts. That's in boxing too. Calvin Dante Dickerson, Dominic Dickerson. You got all these fighters, man. They are coming for anyone's necks. I'm telling you, man, they are coming and they're hungry. And people are going to see that North Carolina is a fight state. They're going to see it and it's coming. So, congratulations to the Los Angeles Lakers. They're a great champion, a great story. A lot of people wonder whether or not Miami Heat were a worthy opponent. In a lot of ways, Miami wasn't the opponent that people were hoping for, but they were the team that showed up. Everyone else, they didn't do enough. When people talk about Miami was the weakest team, and sure, even I thought that Miami was gonna get swept. But there was something about Miami that was different than the rest of the teams. Miami, they had grit, they had heart, they had a willingness to win. And they didn't care what the naysayers said, they didn't care what the public said, they didn't care what the media said. Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, Eric Spoelstra, Pat Riley. Those guys, they said, we don't care what any of y'all think. We're going to fight. And the Lakers, when they faced the Lakers in the finals, Game 3 and Game 5, the Heat showed up, and they showed out. They showed out. Jimmy Butler performed one of the greatest finals performances I've ever seen. Outside of the one where LeBron James scored 50 in 2018 when he faced the Golden State Warriors. That game that they should have won if JR hadn't made that mistake. But I just want to say that for all the people who say that the Lakers, that they just won a cakewalk, it was just cakewalk victory. No, Miami Heat, they came and they went for the Lakers' throats. Now they missed, but that doesn't mean that they weren't real competition because they gave the Lakers all they could. And the Lakers, they adjusted and they won. But that's because they had the second greatest player of all time. The second, in my opinion. But he's coming. He's coming for that Michael Jordan spot. Okay? When you look at LeBron James, you see that he's got the 6 NBA Finals losses. Okay, yeah, he's got 6 Finals losses. But you know what? He's the all-time leading playoff scorer. Okay? By the time he retires, he's going to beat Kareem in all points scored. He's going to be LeBron James is the most complete player in NBA history. And he could play in any position you give him. Now, granted, the only reason why he could play the 5 as much is because the center position isn't the same. But I'm telling you right now, LeBron James, it would be great in any era. Just like Michael Jordan could be great in any era. But I believe the difference between LeBron James and Michael Jordan is just mentality when it comes to being that dog all the time. LeBron James is that dog, but he's not that dog all the time. Michael Jordan is that dog all the time. So that's the difference between why he's the GOAT. Plus, Michael Jordan's got the 10 scoring titles. He also was always the best player in the league. LeBron James was not always the best player in the league. I know y'all are going to be like, no, wait a minute, Tim, what are you talking about? First off, don't disrespect Kobe Bryant. Okay, Kobe Bryant was the greatest scorer I've ever seen. He's the best scorer / defender I've ever seen when it comes to scoring the ball and being a defender. Can he pass the ball like LeBron? No. Can he rebound the ball like LeBron? No. Is he a better teammate than LeBron? Absolutely not. He's not. But I'm telling you, from just the greatest offensive player that I've ever seen is Kobe Bean Bryant. And I think people should put more respect on Kobe Bryant's name. And even though people say, what about this whole GOAT conversation? I don't think Kobe Bryant's the GOAT. But I do believe Kobe Bryant deserves the respect to be, you know what? He's one of the greats, and he's top 10. Top 10 all time, maybe even top 5. And that's really what I believe on it. But when it comes to the GOAT conversation, it really doesn't matter because you never can really tell who really is the GOAT. It's all up to opinion. Some people say it's Will Chamberlain. Some people say it's Bill Russell because he's got 11 championships. Some people say it's Michael Jordan because he's got the mentality. Some people choose LeBron because he's a great player on the field and he's a great person off the field with the social justice issues and etc. At the end of the day, it's all up to what you decide. The fans, the media, the people. That's what matters. It's all fun and games. It's nothing to be serious about. It's something to laugh about. That's what sports is. Sports is entertainment. Sports was made to create unity, in my opinion. Sports was created to where a little boy, a little girl can look up and they see, you know what? I want to be like that. It could be an adult or a teenager being, you know what? Let me watch this to escape the reality of what's going on. That's what sports is. Sports is about family. Sports is about unity. And sports is about entertainment. And that's what we're going to give here on the Sports Cycle. And that's what we're going to give on 105.1 Live. Peace, family. You're listening to 105.1 Live.